Well, hello, Mafians. Hello, new listeners. Hello, AJ over in the sound booth. How is everyone doing on this beautiful Friday? This beautiful Friday afternoon, evening, morning, depending on when you're listening to our show. And we've got a great show for you today, AJ, right? AJ has scoured the world. He has scoured every inch of the planet to bring you our world's best coffee episode. I am your host, Tooclevermafia, and this is the Tooclevermafia podcast. We are going to go over the best coffee brands we have found. We did a survey last week on Twitter and Facebook, and a lot of you have very strong opinions on the matter, and we're going to go over all of that. We're also going to go over the best way to make coffee. You know, do you like the percolator, or you okay with the K-Cups? Or the grinds. You like the grinds, right, AJ? Yeah, AJ's a grind. Oh no, you're a K-Cup guy. Oh, sorry. I thought I saw you more as a grind guy. Anyway, do you like the hot or cold? Do you like the cold brew? You like and how do you like your coffee? Do you like it black? Do you like it with cream? You like it with a sweetener, sugar, or an artificial sweetener, or flavored coffee is another whole big can of worms we're going to be opening up today. But we're not going to take too long because we want to get into this off. I want to actually. I think I'm going to go get a cup of coffee, AJ. Here, I'm going to take a little break and go get a cup of coffee. Yeah, I think we should. I think we should both have a cup of coffee for this. I know. Yeah, AJ doesn't drink coffee, but I do. So I'm going to definitely sit back, relax, have a cup of coffee. We're going to go over all of this feedback we've gotten, and we're going to have a nice little conversation about coffee today. So check us out on www.tooclevermafia.com. You can listen to us on all the podcasts. Don't forget to rate us on the podcast. We're on Apple, we're on Spotify, we're on Google Podcast. We're pretty much on everything, right, AJ? At this point, yeah, we're on Anchor. Did I say Anchor already? I don't know. Bullhorn, Radio Public, Breaker. We're everywhere. We're everywhere, folks. Just don't forget to like us. And if you're checking us out on social media, on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, or any of those, YouTube, like and subscribe as well. You don't have to do it all now, but wherever you're listening to us, my call to action is just like and subscribe if you haven't already. That'll help us out a lot. Help us out tremendously. We will be right back after a short break. Not going to drag this intro out too long because I want to get a cup of coffee. So we will be right back. Don't go anywhere. We have a real fun episode in store for everybody today. Well, hello everyone. Welcome back. This is your host, Tooclevermafia, and welcome once again to the Tooclevermafia podcast. And hello, AJ over in the sound booth. Hello to all my Mafians and all my new listeners as well. And today we've got it for you. We're right, AJ. AJ has scoured the world. He has taken travels and used the company credit card to go to all corners of the world and has brought back what he believes to be the world's best coffee brands. Now, for somebody that doesn't drink coffee, AJ brought a friend of his, a coffee expert, would you say? Yeah. Plus, we did a lot of surveys on Twitter, so that's where probably most of it came from. But we're going to go over some of the best coffee brands today, and whether you like them or you don't, definitely get on Twitter because that's who's basically telling us what the world's best coffee is. So we're gonna start off with the brands, obviously, and then we're gonna go into the best ways to make coffee, and whether you like do you like K-Cups or not, hot or cold, and how do you take it? How do you like your coffee? And then flavors. Flavors is going to be we're going to wrap it up with the flavors of coffee. If some like them all natural, they're the purists, and some like a good French vanilla. So, yeah. So, and hey, maybe I'll share some of my favorites as well, right? Why not? So, best coffee brands. So, there's coffee when you go. They say I'll say coffee at the place, and that's the place that everyone goes to, and their favorite coffee brands. Some just might go to the local diner and just can't get enough of that coffee for whatever reason, and that's fine too. That's fine too. really a matter of opinion, I guess, and taste, right? I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean that one person likes one brand over the next. There have been quite a few surveys done. I know that people do taste test surveys, and people want to find out what the best beans are. They like what the best coffee beans are, but a lot of it has to do with your personal taste, right? So we're gonna go over a little list, and well, I guess we got a lot of submissions, folks. We got a lot of submissions. So I've got everything from Starbucks to Kickin' Horse Coffee to Pete's Coffee to Valhalla Java, Coffee Cult. There's Coffee Bean Direct. There's a lot here. And actually, at one point, Tooclevermafia was going to have their own coffee brand. We're still thinking about it. I wouldn't mind we had a business approach us and with kind of throwing it around. I don't know um, too much about the making of coffee, but we're kind of thinking about it. Maybe throw our name in the ring, and maybe who knows? Maybe we'll be on a top 10 list somewhere. But yeah, so there's a lot, and then there's also you got the coffee that you buy in the store. You get your Folgers, you get your Cafe Bustiello, you got your chock full of nuts, your Maxwell House. Those are your grocery store chain coffees. I don't. To me, the six one half dozen the other. If I have those, I really don't. I like Maxwell House. Chock full of nuts is good. I've made iced coffee using the Cafe Bustiello coffee before, and I like that. But there's the purists that want to make their own beans and grind them up and do all that stuff on their own. Then you get your fast food coffee, as I like to call it. Now, I put Starbucks on that list. I know people love Starbucks. I gave away a Starbucks gift card not too long ago, and it was the contest had the most entries I've ever had. So, in any contest, the Too Clever Mafia podcast is held. There's Dunkin' Donuts. People like their Dunkin' Donuts. If you're from, I think, Canada, you have your Tim Hortons. There's some in the U.S., but they don't seem to stay open too long. You got your Krispy Kreme, your Krispy Kreme coffee. You got your Seattle's Best. So there's a lot. I mean, there's definitely a lot of brands out there. There's a lot of people that just like to go and roast their own. There's people that like to buy the beans and grind them up and make it a real science. I mean, it could be to make a perfect cup of coffee is I mean, that's almost like landing on the moon. That's making a rocket ship, being able to get the trajectory right, just right, so you have enough fuel, you can lift off the Earth, break through the Earth's atmosphere, fly through space using a slingshot method if you have to, and fly through space and go, and land on the moon, and then being able to take off on the moon and come back home when your caffeine high runs out, right? Right. So yeah, that's crazy, but I guess if you put them into different order, if you had to have one or the other, because some people that really like their coffee, and looking at these Twitter comments, there are some that really, really are diehard coffee fans. They really like their Maxwell House. There's nothing better, or there's nothing better than their coffee brand, which they get their coffee. There's somebody on our. I'm going to scroll through here and find somebody that's been really Pete's Coffee. There's somebody here that really, really loves Pete's Coffee in our Twitter comments. Check it out. They really love it. Yeah, they keep going on and on. I mean, must be 15, 20 posts here. Gloria Jean's Coffee's another popular one. Surprisingly, Archer Farms, which is a Target brand, chock full of nuts, the 100% Colombian beans, the coffee bean and tea leaf, which is like Trader Joe's is on there. Trader Joe's Colombian Supremo. I don't know if I'm saying that right. But yeah, so my top coffee is generally the cheapest coffee. So if I have to, you're not going to find me going to Starbucks too often, unless I win a scratch off ticket Just too much money. If I got to get fast coffee, it's probably going to be Dunkin' Donuts. Probably one of my top. How do I take? Well, usually, I don't mind coffee with nothing in it, black coffee. But what I do mind is if the coffee is horrible. If the coffee is horrible, nothing in the, and I think that's why I started I put a little bit of cream at home. I use it's a skim milk plus. It has no fat in it, but it's like a creamer, and it's not bad. Mrs. Mafia is not a fan, but she's a fan of the regular half and half coffee creamer. But that has a lot of fat, and I'm trying to keep my old ticker going as long as possible, keeping the arteries not from getting clogged. But so I use that, and then I try to stay away from the sugar. So I'll put some the blue sweetener, the equal, which by the way seems to be going the way of the dinosaur. I don't see that many places anymore, and more I see. Remember the pink one, Sweet and Low, which is like a saccharin sweetener, and I see that showing up everywhere. But the other one, or Splenda, the yellow packets that come out, they're a sucralose or something. And then the blue is the equal, which is aspartame. The three different types of sweeteners. They do different things. But yeah, the equal, I don't know if it's cost or what the reasoning behind it is, but it's very hard to find these days. And to buy it in a store. I mean, I can go to a Dunkin' Donuts usually has it, but some of the other fast food places don't. Speaking of fast food, McDonald's coffee, the worst. Oh, I know there's people that die for it, and I'm sorry if I offended your comments, but I saw somebody say McDonald's coffee, McCafe. Oh my God, goodness, that was horrible. That is the worst. It's there's coffee, and then there's water with milk and sugar, and that's pretty much what it is. And it's a strange mix. It's almost like a heated up Coca-Cola. It's not. It's I can't even explain it. But in McCafe, not my cup of coffee. No. Yeah, none of the fast. Burger King, maybe. I mean, in a pinch, coffee is coffee. I had where were we the other day? I was in. I had to go to a car dealership. Right. Oh, that was a whole nother story. I'm not even going to get into that. But I was in a car dealership and I was in the waiting room, and mask on and everything. And I needed something. It was late morning. I had an early morning appointment there. I went there and I was sitting around 2-3 hours and I had nothing to eat. And I said, I need some coffee here. I just can't deal with this. Everybody in the waiting room, grumpy as can be. I looked around, even with masks on, I could tell people weren't smiling. Who wants to be in a car dealership's waiting room? More than likely something is wrong with your car and you're just not happy for one reason or another. You don't want to be there. No one says, hey, I'm going to spend my Saturday there. But I ended up there and I went over to this coffee machine and I look at it and I said, you get different, it had cappuccino, it had all these different flavors and stuff. And I just wanted a coffee, right? A coffee, but knowing that it was probably not a coffee that I have had before and I wasn't going to be, it's from a machine. I said, I want to get some milk or something in it, So I click on the buttons and it's a touch screen. And I'm all grossed out now because I got to break out my Purell. And I touch the screen and I look around and I'm trying to find milk. And then it said milk powder. So I said, it's going downhill fast, right? I need a cup of coffee. Adding milk powder to my coffee wasn't going to help. But I said, if this is garbage coffee and I just get it with nothing in it, there was nothing I could do. So I get the milk powder. I hit the button, but then I guess I hit the wrong button on the touch screen. It wasn't really a high tech. It wasn't an Apple touch screen. It was just some rando. So I hit the button, doesn't do anything. I tap it again. It starts making my coffee, and it makes it. And then I had a little cup underneath, a little foam cup, and because that's all they had, no paper cups, nothing recyclable. And I see it starts filling up, and it's just black coffee. So it fills up in about quarter cup increments, right? So it's about 25%, 50 stops for a second, then it goes, it does the whole thing. So I maybe get 8 ounces of coffee tops. No milk, no creamer. There's nothing on the side. There was some sweetness there, and it's the sweet and low, of course, no equal or anything, and a stirrer. So then I'm thinking to myself, well, I'm in a room full of people here, trying to be socially distant, trying to, respect everybody else and not get anyone sick or to get myself sick, because that's what we're told to do. And I'm like, how am I going to drink this coffee now? Do I go back outside, stand outside, which then I might miss them when they called my name to be help. It was like the DMV I felt like I was in. And I go outside. Should I go outside to drink it? I said, I'm not doing that. It's been 3 hours. I'm sitting here. I need coffee. So I grab the stirrer, right? And I said, I'm going to put the stirrer in. I mixed in a little bit of the saccharin, the sweet and low, make it a little bit sweet. I could see the oil on top of the coffee in the cup. This is another reason why I like putting cream in, because you don't see that often. But I guess the oil from the coffee beans was there, and I hope that's what it is. That's what I thought it was all these years. That's what I'm going to go with. And, that's it. So then I go over, and I don't want to sit down in these chairs once again, because I don't want to touch the armrests, and I'm very germophobic. It's just being out in public at this point is very difficult for me. Normally it is, but this is very bad. So I stand in the corner and make sure I'm away from everyone. I'm not in anybody's walking path or anything. And I put the stirrer in this cup of coffee, and I lift my mask up to put it kind of over over my eyes and my face. I have my black cloth mask, which is like 3 layers, and has a filter in it, all this stuff. And I lift it up over my face, and I'm sipping through the stirrer to drink the coffee in little, bursts, if you will, because it's a little tiny straw. Now, the coffee is, apparently, these coffee machines, they boil the coffee in them. So now I take the first sip, and you got to really, really get some pressure in there to get it through that little tiny stir straw. And I sip it, and then, oh boy, it like severed my tongue right down the middle from the heat. It melted it right up the middle. It was almost like I had 2 tongues, one on the left, one on the right after that. Oh boy. But now I got to put my mask back down, and I look around, because I'm like, I kind of made a noise when it was hot, but I couldn't really see anybody because the mask is over my eyes and my nose at this point. So when I put it back down, I look around the room, and, it was almost like people were looking, but when I went to look, they looked back away. So this continued back and forth till I got about halfway down the cup, and I said, you know what, I've had enough. I'm going to get rid of this cup of coffee and get the heck out of here. Now, luckily, by then, they had called me, and I had done what I needed to do with the car dealer and all of that stuff, and oh boy. But anyway, so we got way off target here, but best ways to make coffee, right? The best ways to make coffee are definitely not the machines you use in the automobile dealership waiting room. Definitely not. That's a definite no. But some people really like when they do a pour over, I think they call it. They put it in the filter, they pour it over. I remember years ago, we used to use the percolator. It made a good cup of coffee, right? I do like a French press. A good French press with the right coffee is not bad. You put the beans in, you press it down, you get a cheap one at IKEA for like $15, whatever it is. When we go to Miss Mafia and I, we haven't in a long, long time, but when we go to a more, we'll say high class or fancier restaurants, we'll get the French press. If we go there for a brunch, we'll get the French press. It's high class. Yeah, and I'm not talking a drive-through Dunkin' Donuts and we get ourselves a breakfast burrito or whatever it is. I'm talking about an actual fancy sit-down place. Those were the days, right, when you could just go out and eat breakfast and it didn't matter where you went. Now you can't go anywhere. You can't go anywhere, right? But other ways, obviously, the K-Cup. K-Cup, very powerful. We have a K-Cup machine. I kind of miss the old brew style way. The K-Cups, they're good in a pinch, but the coffee just isn't as fresh. However, though, I did recently buy, now I'm not going to remember the brand. But I did recently buy these K-Cups. I think they might have been chock full of nuts. I don't know. But they were a K-Pot that didn't have the plastic bottom, because I don't know why they haven't gotten rid of those. But the plastic bottom, they have just like a filter piece, and and you open up the seal, and it's so much fresher smelling, and it's close to probably you can get the regular, grinding your own beans and actually having your coffee made for you, a fresh pot of coffee. I miss those days. I miss those days when you could just have a fresh pot of coffee ready to go, and you could. If you want a second cup, it's there and it's hot and it's ready to go. But did you know, AJ, if you brew a cup of coffee, they say, and I don't know how true it is, but I have heard that they say the caffeine level only stays fresh for about 20 minutes. That's why when you go to these Wawas, I'm going to say it's a New Jersey store, but a quickie mart or a quick store is like a 7-Eleven or whatever. Trying to think of one they have out west, but I guess 7-Eleven would be the closest. But when you go to these places that have the coffee, they're supposed to empty it out every 20 minutes because the caffeine levels dip, you know. So, and and quite honestly, you might take that coffee, and that's the stuff they sell to McDonald's. That's the stuff they serve you to McDonald's. They box it up. I don't know, they box up the liquid, but I guess they jar it up, ship it over to Mickey D's, and Mickey D's then serves it to you, hot and fresh. Oh boy. Yeah, I'm not going to say good things about that, but gonna get off that topic real quick. But hot, cold. Any preference, AJ? Hot or cold brew? Any special request you like? Hot? You're more of a cold. Oh, okay. So you're a cold guy. You like the cold coffees. You like the flavors, the lattes, all that stuff. Well, they make lattes and hot as well, but yeah, you like that? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, for me, it really depends. I can go for a good cold iced coffee if it's hot summer day. But then on the same token, I can have a nice hot cup of coffee on a hot summer day. It's just really what I feel like. I feel when you get an iced coffee, you're getting a lot of other stuff. You're getting your milk, your flavoring, your ice. You're not getting as much coffee. Where if you get a hot cup of coffee, you're getting a hot cup of coffee. If you don't ask for it with half full with milk or half and half or cream or whatever you use, you're getting a cup of coffee. So you're getting what you're paying for. I think with a cold brew, sometimes if you're not careful, depending on where you go, you're getting mostly ice. They're filling it up to the top with ice. They're pouring it over, or it's already chilled, so it's not melting the ice. And then they're filling it up with milk and sugar and cream or whatever however you take it. So, and the flavoring, they use the liquid flavoring, right? So depending on where you go, I mean, that's my experience. But yeah, I like the hot coffee. Could be anytime. The cold brew. I don't mind it. How do I like? Oh well, I said before. Yeah, I like with a little bit of cream, the fat free cream, and then if I had can available, or just regular cream. I know it's not good for you, but that's what they have. Or milk again, if that's what they have. No powder, none of that powder cream garbage. No. And like it sweet with some artificial sweetener to stay away from the sugars and stuff. But as far as flavors, I gotta tell you, I'll wrap it up after this because we're kind of getting on and on about this coffee business more than probably people want to even hear. But there's tons of different flavors, right? I usually for years have gotten just regular, and then for a while. Like 20 years ago, I was on a French vanilla kick for maybe a few months, and then I went back to regular coffee, and then and I would try they started to come out with these different sugar-free flavors, and I would put them in the coffee. I think raspberry, French vanilla, hazelnut, all these different, and then I had caramel, all these different flavors, right? So for some reason, it was like last month, I was at the drive-thru getting a cup of coffee. I was at the Dunkin' Donuts, which I happen to like. I know, but I don't mind it. And I said, I saw the flavor just popped out of me in the board and it said coconut. Now, I don't know if you're a fan of coconut at AJ, but I said, let me try the coconut in the hot coffee. And I really liked it. I really liked it. But then, we 3 or 4 times after I got it, and then by the 4th or 5th time, I'm like, yeah, I kind of want to go back to regular coffee. The flavors seem to wear out on me. I like to go back to the old tried and true because, sometimes I guess they don't put the same amount in, or, you ever get that cup of coffee that's like perfect? You ever get that cup of coffee that's like, oh man, and you guzzle it down so fast because it just tastes perfect. It's perfectly made. It was fresh. It was brewed perfectly. And then you get that cup of coffee that's like, garbage. Like you can't even drink it. I'll get home and I'll baby sip the coffee until it's done, or I'll let it sit for 2 hours, and then Miss Mafia says, hey, you didn't finish your coffee. It's still sitting over there. And I'll grab a mug, and I'll put some ice in a mug and just pour it over ice, make an iced coffee out of it, kind of rechill it because it's already cold anyway, right? But, yeah, so I went back to the regular stuff. But the coconut wasn't bad for a short time. Same with French vanilla. Wasn't bad for a short time. But you know what? I think when it used to be good, I'm pretty sure Dunkin' Donuts used to brew French vanilla coffee because that was like their big thing was regular coffee and French vanilla. And they may have had like a hazelnut, but then I guess to save money because they're not just brewing all this coffee that no one probably drinks as much as the regular stuff or it's like decaf. You never can get a fresh pot of decaf because no one ever drinks it that much. So usually it's stale and you're getting an old decaf coffee if you want to drink coffee at all. And there's always a little different taste to the decaf coffee, I noticed. But and then they stop brewing it, and then they have these flavor shots. I think they have sugar ones, and then they have ones that have the artificial sweetener in it. I don't know what kind, but it's of all different flavors. And then you have your, like I said, the sugar flavors, like this. I don't know, swirlies. I don't know what they call them, but they apparently all. Then they have now the lattes where they put the whipped cream on them and the pumpkin spice that time of year. Pumpkin, people go crazy. It doesn't taste like pumpkin at all because I don't think there's any real pumpkin in it, but I think it's just more of a cinnamony, spicy flavor that they've just used as pumpkin. But and for some reason, they start selling the pumpkin spice in August to boost the fall season. Just like the holidays, pretty soon we're going to start seeing Black Friday sales, and it's only October. So, well, it is what it is, right? But we're going to take a short break. Well, I think we beat coffee up. The world's best coffee. We're gonna tally up all the votes, and then we're going to be right back with the winner. Should we do like the top 3, AJ, or should we just do the outright winner? Yeah, I think if we do the top 3, I think either way, I think the winner is going to disappoint a lot of people that didn't vote for that particular brand. And it's going to be. By the way, it's not going to be. It's going to be along the lines of the famous ones, the fast food ones. That's the survey we did on Twitter, and Facebook. So that's what we're going to be voting against. But if we do the top 3, we're probably, if you came in number 2, you think you're going to be happy about that? No, we're just going to do the number 1. We'll be back shortly after a brief intermission. I want to get some more coffee to drink here, and we will tally up all the votes because we're getting some coming in now. Actually, yeah, I just saw that. Our numbers ticked up a bit. All right. So in the meantime, head over to Twitter at Tooclevermafia, head over to Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, join in the conversation, or just to say hi, head over to www.tooclevermafia.com. You can see everything over there. And if you want to support us, we're over on Teespring. You can buy a nice little t-shirt or a mug. You want to. Also, Stream Elements. We got some cool stuff over there. We got the face masks. And if you're listening to us on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Breaker, Radio Public, Bullhorn, the only thing I ask, is to go over there, wherever you're listening to us, and like and subscribe. That's all I ask. Wherever you're hearing us. The rest of the stuff you could do if you want to. We'd appreciate it, but you don't have to necessarily do it right away if you don't want to. I don't want to give you 15 million things to go do in the middle of our episode. And you're probably listening to this driving to work, or who knows when you're listening to it, but you're not really listening to us to go and hit all of our like and subscribe buttons. But if you do, we appreciate it. And on a side note, we do give out prizes from time to time for doing that kind of thing. So hang in there. We'll be right back. We got a short break. We got to pay for the bills. And we will be back with our number 1 Two Clever's World's Best Coffee voting tally. Yeah. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the grand finale. Right, AJ? Welcome, listeners. Welcome, Mafians. Welcome, AJ, over in the sound booth. We are here to finalize and bring you the Too Clever Mafia show's World's Best Coffee. I am your host, Too Clever Mafia, and you are listening to the Too Clever Mafia podcast. Like and subscribe wherever you're at. We not going to give you a whole lot of different things to do, but wherever you're listening to us right now, hey, like and subscribe. Why not? If you're listening to us on a podcast, like us and subscribe. Or subscribe and then like us on Facebook or somewhere else. I don't like. Follow us on Twitter That there you go. There you go. But anyway, we are going to tally this up. And a quick disclaimer. We did, this title of this episode is The World's Best Coffee. Now, there are some Starbucks, I believe, internationally. And, but for the most part, this really is the United States. So, most of the people that voted, although we did get a couple of votes from Ireland and over in the UK as well. But we, for the most part, the votes that we have and that we're going to tally are from the United States. So, do we have a drum roll, AJ? No drum. We don't have a drum roll. We have a cymbal, but not a drum roll. Okay. Well, here we go. We're going to do it without any fanfare because AJ is just a master in the sound booth, and quite honestly, it costs money to spend rights for sounds, and AJ spent all his money traveling around the world, tasting coffee with his friends, right? Oh, no, you don't taste it. Your friends were tasting coffee. Yeah, so I paid for them to go around, and yeah, he's got a pretty sweet gig, right, AJ? You got a pretty sweet gig over there. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, I remember that when I'm signing off all the expense reports. Anyway, so the winner of the we got a couple of, okay, so we got the winner of the best fast food coffee. This reminds me of The Office when they do the Dundies. Remember the Dundie Awards, and they give out the Dundie nominations, which is like, the award ceremony. We should talk about The Office a little bit on a podcast one day. I think that's a fun show. I like that a lot. Michael Scott and all his antics, and Jim and Dwight, all their antics on that show. But anyway, pretty funny show. But yeah, he has the world's best boss coffee mug, which would fit in right now because we're trying to give the world's best coffee. So we have the world's best coffee mug, right? Yeah. So based on our votes, the top fast food coffee, which is defined, we've defined it by basically being able to get it at a drive-thru. The number one is that was my own sound effects. I don't want to get charged any commercial rights for that, but it is Dunkin' Donuts. It is Dunkin'. Yeah, the world runs on Dunkin', so I guess the world's best coffee is Dunkin' Donuts. Starbucks was a very close second, even though we weren't going to get into that. But yeah, Dunkin' Donuts, they won. Yeah, everybody voted for Dunkin' Donuts. Congratulations. You can now say your coffee has been rated the world's best coffee by the Tooclevermafia podcast host, Tooclevermafia. We also had another survey up there. Do you like K-Kups or do you prefer the old way, the brewing the grinds? And surprisingly, this surprised me because I don't agree with it. It didn't get my vote. But K-Kups, they like the convenience seems to be what people like. So K-Kups was rated the top way to make coffee, even though I prefer the old-fashioned way and using the beans and the grinds and all that stuff and brewing up a nice hot pot of Joe, and then the other survey we did was hot or cold brew. This was tough because people, we had a lot of votes on both sides, and similar to what I had mentioned, where people like hot during colder weather and people like cold during hotter weather. That seems to be the consensus. It's not scientific, but we're going to call this one a draw because we just really, people liked hot coffee, but people they like it both. I guess it's almost two separate things. And you're comparing apples and oranges, I guess, in a lot of people's mind. And fair enough. We're going to go with that one as a draw. And favorite coffee flavor was also listed on the survey. The favorite coffee flavor was French vanilla. French vanilla won as a top coffee flavor. And hazelnut was very close second. And I wouldn't have thought. I told you I like the coconut. And there's some other nice flavors out there now. They got, I don't know. But that French vanilla is the victor. And we put also for the final the final survey we had was, do you like your coffee black or with cream? And then the other part of it was a kind of a two-parter, was do you like it sweet or unsweetened? And a lot of people like it with cream. So, that was the big winner. And sweet or unsweetened, a lot of people like it sweet. So cream and sweet seems to be the majority rule here at the Too Clever Mafia podcast. And based on the Too Clever Mafia findings, of course, there's no scientific value in anything we've discussed. And some of the voters, I think, AJ, we're going to give, there's a couple of voters out there for some coffees that voted multiple times that really were involved. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about? I'm going to send out another coffee mug to that subscriber, and in his thanks for participating and voting. But they were all over the place. They voted on Facebook, they voted on Instagram, they voted on Twitter, YouTube. I saw a comment on a YouTube video. So, congratulations to all the big winners. Congratulations to should we have our own version of the Dundee? The big winner, Dunkin' Donuts, can be the I don't know how you would even say Dundee, like the NOY, the Mafian Award or something. I don't know. Well, we won't get into that too much, but so everybody has a wonderful week. We will be back again next Friday, right? Yeah, next Friday we'll be back one more time. We got a couple more episodes, I think, before the big election week. So we're going to see how that's going to fly, if we're going to do an election special or not. And until then, check us out on tooclevermafia.com, www.tooclevermafia.com. Sign up and follow, subscribe, like, do all that, to all of our social medias. We really do appreciate it wherever you're listening to us. Whether it's on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Breaker, Radio Public, Bullhorn, please subscribe to the podcast. That's what we ask. Like and follow us on Twitter, Facebook, all that fun stuff. Well, I am Too Clever Mafia, your host of the Too Clever Mafia podcast, and that is all I have to say about that. Take care for now. Bye-bye.